Hello, guys. We're going live for Tuesday Talks today. Today we have an amazing entrepreneur at Seoul called Glory Munoz. I hope I'm saying it correct. If not, apologies. Glory is a brand and web developer creating websites that gets you results, conversations, traffic, and sales. The most important part, right? So she brings your dreams to life and scales your business to new heights. We're gonna get Glory up in a bit, and let's see if she is.
Hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? How's everything?
I am great. Thank you very much. So I'm saying your name correctly. Glory, is it Munoz?
Yes, Munoz. In
Munoz.
Spanish is Muñoz.
Okay, so I'll try to remember that. So it's Munoz.
Yes.
Ah, fantastic. No, I was trying. I'm very bad with second names because obviously they are all fantastically wonderful, and
Yes.
I'm always challenged with everyone's second name. So I had a go at it, and I was close, not bad.
Not bad, not bad.
Thank you very much for coming on. I've done a short introduction for you already a little bit, but you're the best person to give it a bit more justice. So yeah, I'll pass the mic to you. So let us know who you are, what you do, and most importantly, why do you do it?
Well, thank you for first and foremost for the invitation. It's a pleasure being here with you today. I am Glory Munoz. I am a specialist in branding. I went to school for this. It wasn't something that I learned on YouTube. I actually took the time to get a education. I went to the University of Central Florida. I obtained my bachelor's in web design and development. And prior to that, I obtained an associate's degree in multimedia. And so I've always been in the creative field, and I've always wanted to help people in that aspect because not everyone has that eye for that detail, and to help other businesses be able to stand out and make the best out of the platforms that they're in.
Wow, that is an amazing story in behind, in terms of we hear lots of creative people out there now who, you know, learned via YouTube and short courses, and you actually went to
Yes,
university for it. So you've been to uni and you've done the actual I'll say degree for it, right?
exactly.
So so is this something that you were already passionate about since a very young age, or did it develop as you were getting older?
Actually, it developed as I was getting older because growing up, we didn't have computers. And right then and there, I kind of gave off away my age. But growing up, everything was outside using what you had, coloring books, painting, canvases. And so now it's so different to be able to catapult that into a digital screen and be able to create things that I would have created on a notepad or a piece of canvas, to be able to create it within Canva, Photoshop, any of these platforms that make things so much easier for us to be able to give our businesses a digital aspect and a window to different opportunities.
Wow. So, and I'm sure you didn't give away your your time there because I would have just thought maybe your house was strict, so you had no computer for that reason. Like no time spending it, go out and play. So,
Actually, my parents were very strict. They always wanted us, and they emphasized the importance of going outside and to be able to play outside. That's something that we hardly see anymore because there's so many kids attached to the devices. And it was very difficult for my sisters and I to get back inside because it would be 5, 6 o'clock in the afternoon and we'd still be playing outside and enjoying the outdoors. And it's something that we definitely should be able to be bringing and involving our children, especially now that there's so much stress with this COVID going around. But we have to do things with precautionary measures.
No, definitely. I agree. I agree with that 100%, 100%. Those playing outside gave you a bit more creativity, instead of being glued to the screen. Now, not to say that it's a bad time. You can have a good screen time as well. There's lots of creativity apps on the tablets there, or iPads, or Apple devices, or Android, whichever you use. There's lots of creativity projects that you can take part in. It just depends on how well versed the correct connecting parent is
Exactly.
with the technology. So that's what it is. But coming back to your side of things, so when you decided to take the creative path, and you wanted to do this, what got you deciding that, okay, this is the future that I want to go in? I don't want to be a lawyer or doctor or engineer or an actor as everybody wants to go for.
Yes. Well, it's funny that you say that. I had always in that bucket list that everyone has to be able to work in corporate America and to have that 9 to 5 job. And little did I know that back in my mindset, would I have the desires to eventually become a boss. And that came about in 2018 after finishing a project with a developer where I was working with them on some UI, UX type of development. And I said to myself, I want to be able to do something that going forward, not only will I be happy, but that the people that I work with will be happy as well with the results that they're getting. And so that's how Graphically For You came about. Before I knew it, I had plans and I was doing things and I was helping people in the social media emphasis and the platforms, making sure that their brand was readily clear for others to see and to ask them questions about, because that's a lot of things that we wonder. Is a logo just a logo, or is it just part of one of the aspects within branding, which a lot of people think is, oh, I have a logo, so my brand's all set.
I love that. I mean, and you touched upon the acronym UI UX. So I take it that's the user interface and user experience, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah. So just for the people who might be not familiar with the terminology, that's what it stands for. Because I dabbled into creativity side. I have been creative side of things. So, but I do not put a lot of time inside of these things in terms of I'll say that's not my forte. So I get people like you to do it for me, right?
Exactly.
So, but yeah, I 100% agree. So a lot of people just think if I've got a logo, that's me set, right? That's my brand. And to get a brand is a lot more involved in there, right? You need to know your pillars, you need to know your color psychology, and so forth, right? So because if you look at any of the bigger brands and their logo, it's just not their logo. It's been built upon in times, obviously, and the logo you design on is not going to be the one that's going to be fixated now.
Exactly.
In time, it will change as your business will evolve. So a year, 2 years, 3 years time, you might completely change the colors, for example, but keep the same logo that you have, or completely change the logo because you've now pivoted to something else, but the pillars are the same. So in terms of the clients that you get, do they already know what it is, or do you take them through a typical experience? What would that look like?
Well, I have a variety of clients. I have new clients, I have midway clients, and I have clients that have already developed their branding. But with a client that is just coming in, a lot of times they have a simple idea where they have no clue where to take their idea. I pretty much bring them on a journey. Why? Because a lot of times people think this is the idea that I want, and this is it. But something to think about is when you have an idea, will that idea incorporate your ideal client? Will it incorporate those desired colors that you want to use for your color scheme? Will it include the types of fonts that you want to use? And a lot of times it's more technical than just the idea. And so a lot of times people feel, oh, this is overwhelming, this is too much for me. And they're like, I just go to Google, grab a logo, and that's it, and call it a day. But that on its own, if you end up doing that, you can get sued. So there's things that you should do, there's things that you should stick away from, and then there's things that you should implement so that you do see results within your branding.
I agree 100% there. You know, in terms of not just going to Google and grabbing a logo which looks familiar, or like, oh yeah, I resonate with this. Let's just do it. Oh yeah, it's an unknown brand. Nobody knows what you know, whatever. So because you're not thinking long term, then you're just thinking short term, right? You need to, if you're starting a business, you didn't think of your business as, oh yeah, I'm just gonna make some sales tomorrow and then I will go back to bed. No, you're gonna keep doing your sales, right? And you're gonna keep
Yes, you
doing your
have
business.
to.
Exactly. So it's not like, oh, the company, for example, if you work for a company, that company did not just thought, oh yeah, we'll make something today and then tomorrow we're not going to be non-existent. So you have to think of long term, and the popularity that you will gain, the more known your company will become, the more places it will go. But now the internet, you're connected all around the globe. So you post something now, you everywhere gets to see it. You might not know it. Somebody, across the globe is looking at it, and you just don't know it. You're just sleeping, and somebody's like browsing in their daytime.
Exactly.
So you do not know who's watching and who's not watching, and what kind of your logo is. What kind of ideas they are giving it to you. What kind of branding that you've been perceived. You also work with websites, so you say on that your bio that you make dreams come true. So
yes,
yeah,
I do.
Enlighten us more on that.
Well, I've had clients that come to me with a specific idea. And I understand not everyone is a creative person, but that doesn't take away from you having an idea that you can implement. And so a lot of things, what I like to do is on a brainstorming session with a client that is interested in obtaining a website, and to be able to implement the desired items within that website, a lot of times I give them homework. And it's not that boring homework that you would get back in school. It's that type of homework where, what type of images would you like to incorporate in your website? What type of colors? What type of style? Do you want a simplistic look? Do you want elaborate? Do you want something that is edgy? And so what I like to do is I send a lot of my clients into Pinterest to create a board of what is the things that they feel that motivates them to want to be able to see implemented into their website. And so when I get that board back from them, I grab those ideas, implement them with what they've given me, the type of images that they've given me, the copy that they've turned over to me. And the end results, a lot of them have told me, man, you made it come true. That idea that I had, you brought it to life. And so that is something that I implemented within my message, because it brings your ideas to life.
Wow, that is so amazing, because when you were saying that Pinterest board, a vision board just came in my mind, so it's basically they're creating their vision board, and their vision is on that board now. And then they're like, here you go, Glory, this is it. This is my vision. Bring it to life. And you are pretty much bringing that to life, right?
Exactly.
And bringing the dream come true, which is fantastic. And so in terms of, we're going to touch upon some entrepreneurial skills now, because being the creative person and being your own boss, you have to wear now various hats. So when you decided to be your own boss, how was it for you to pivot into this journey? What did you do to times of, because it's not an easy journey.
No, it's not.
So when were the low times, and how did you motivate yourself during the low times? And there are usually lots more low times than the high times.
Yes. Well, for me personally, the year 2020 was a year that ripped a lot of people. it triggered certain stress point areas that I didn't know that I had. And so one of the things that I started to implement was daily walks. And during those daily walks, I would strategize. I would strategize with myself, and I would kind of have A/B conversations with myself. If people were to watch me walking, they'd probably be like, this lady's psycho, because she looks like she's talking to herself. But a lot of times you kind of have to do that when you're a solopreneur. Why do I say that? Because when you have an idea that is not, it's not brought to life. And what do I mean by that? When you don't talk about that idea, when you don't speak it, you don't bring it into existence, it's just a simple idea. But when you hear that idea and you speak it out, your mind grasps it differently as to if you were just to write it. And so a lot of times, ideas that I had to implement into my business, whether it was creating content, whether it was doing lives, whether it was doing challenges, whether it was doing things to capture the idea of that ideal client that I wanted to capture, it was things that I had to implement that honestly I didn't know that I needed. But at the time, looking back, I really needed to speak those things into existence so that I could capture and say, okay, this we could do this we could do this, maybe this we could put it for the future. And so those were things that I was doing as an entrepreneur, as a boss. And it was crazy because I would show up to different meetings, different engagements, and people would say, I would like to introduce you an entrepreneur, and then they would say my name. And to be honest, I felt uncomfortable because I was always introduced as a creative person. And so to be having that switch and that pivot from a title of being a creative person, a creator, a designer, to have it say entrepreneur, solopreneur, it gives you a different jolt. It gives you a different motivation. It gives you things from another perspective that you had otherwise noticed had you not heard it, because it sounds so different when you read it. But when somebody says you're an entrepreneur, it's like, oh shoot, I am an entrepreneur. And so that makes things very different.
I love this. I love this, and 100% agree in terms of when you hear yourself being called an entrepreneur, being introduced as an entrepreneur, you're like, hang on a minute, I'm just a creative person who is trying to just showcase my work, and
Exactly.
if that gets me work, and gets me a client, and I'll do that, right? So, and then that, without knowing, you hop across to being an entrepreneur, because what you're doing, having those meetings, attending those gatherings and things, you are networking as an entrepreneur already, right?
Yes.
So you're introducing your business, you're introducing your capabilities and of an entrepreneur, and as you're doing it. But it's quite interesting to hear that you walk, and I will second that, because I do quite a lot of walking as well. I mean, I can do 5 miles with ease now because I've been doing that much walking, and that gives you a clear head.
Exactly.
A lot of thinking happens when your mind is quiet. So when it's quiet, and you'll get to talk to yourself, and there's no distractions. So I usually have headphones on. So even if I'm talking to myself, they probably think I'm talking to somebody on the phone. So I'll recommend put headphones on when you're walking.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. That's awesome.
Yeah, because I'm kind of conscious of that as well. Like, yeah, people be like, "Whoa, who's this crazy person walking around? Mind the kids, hide them." So yeah, but it's that's why people say a lot of these ideas that they come in the shower is because at the shower time you're not thinking of anything else. You're just thinking of washing yourself and coming out, right? There's no distraction, nothing else. And the same happens for walking as well. When you're walking, you're not thinking of anything else. You're just thinking of that walk that you were on, and then you're going to return back to your place, your home, wherever you wanted to go from that after. And this is where your brain decides to, the power of the brain is so amazing that's when it decides to start starts filing everything together.
Yeah.
It cuts the noise down that you've been accumulating all day, and it says, okay, let's put everything together. And if that time you're thinking of your business ideas, your creative ideas, it will start pushing that forward, and you will say, I can see this. This is
Yeah.
the file. Maybe work on this. Maybe work on this, and then you're getting those ideas, and you say, let's do exactly what you're saying, right? So it's amazing how just a simple walk can do this. I also say to everybody, when was the last time that you've just looked up at the sky? Because that can also give you that clarity of
Exactly.
getting that 5 minutes to yourself, so that your brain can restart. We do that with all electronics. When it stops working, like, let's see if we can restart it, turn it off and turn it start, restart again. But we never do it for ourselves. We're thinking going to bed is that's the when we're gonna shut down and restart. But actually, when you do go to bed, that's when your brain actually works harder the most, because it's trying to now compile everything that you've been doing all day,
Yes.
store it somewhere and put it in together, indexing it and all that stuff, right? So it starts doing that. And that's why you have those dreams, right? Sometimes you have replays and deja vus and all that stuff is happening because of it's chronologizing it now. And this is where we have to be conscious of, like, okay, give ourselves that reset time. Look up at the sky. When was the last time? Nobody actually looks up at the sky. Never.
No.
Unless there is something happening. But if you just look up at the sky, it's so big, and you'll see your brain, your mind will open up straight away, because it will see the vastness of the sky. Because if you're looking straight, there's nothing. You're looking at buildings, road, and everything. So everything is narrowed vision, right? So you can't see further than what you are seeing. So your brain kind of narrows itself in as well. And whereas if you just look up for 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, a couple of minutes up there, and it will look up and it sees nothing but big blue sky. So it will just go as big as it can get. And then it will say, right, okay, sit down in the sun. If you're in Florida, yep, there's always sun. So you just sit
yes.
there.
It's beautiful right now.
Oh, it's not beautiful here. I wish I was there then. So, and it's that 5 minutes. But I love the fact that you touched upon that walking. A lot of people who become an entrepreneur, even though by an accident, that stumble across it, okay, now I'm becoming an entrepreneur, especially being a solopreneur, is a lot harder to do things and just get caught in the race, right? And then you're like, okay, what was the purpose? Because I said, what was the purpose of you becoming an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whether you can do the same thing for somebody else as a job? Because that's where you're doing the same, you're in the same race, you're in the same race. The whole point of becoming the solopreneur was so that you can have the freedom of your time when you feel like you want to be a boss, when you feel like, but if you're doing the same things, rushing. So was that the similar thing that you had come across in the earlier time, as you felt, I have to do everything myself, and you got
like
challenged?
Right now, I see myself, I have slowed down, because when I first started Graphically for You, I felt like I was on in that famous rat race where you have to keep going, there's no time to stop. But going into 2022 as a vision for myself in December 2021, one of the major goals that I set forth for myself for going into 2022 was to take time. Why? It's extremely important to take time to not only rest, but to think about what is working for your business. What within your brand is working? What within your brand is not working? And what can you do to shift it around so that it could click and it could work? If it's not working, remove it and implement something else. Why? Because guess what? The best part of all of this is you're the boss. You're calling the shots. You're not in a job where you have to call to your supervisor and say to the supervisor, can I do this? No, you're the boss. You're in charge. Make that executive call. And if it needs to be removed, remove it and implement something else. A lot of times people are afraid to do a change because they feel it may affect negative in their business, but sometimes change can cause something positive for your business that is the type of change that your business has been waiting for in order to catapult.
I love that, and thank you for touching on that. The change side of things. 100% agree that a lot of a lot of people are just afraid of that change, just because of the consequences that might happen to the business or how they might be perceived. And to them, I usually just say, do a market research. If it's to do with the business, do your market research.
Exactly.
Why do you need that change? Are you feeling challenged now? Would that change now help with this challenge that you're in now, right? Or if you're stuck at something and you're like, oh, if it's been a month of challenge, that's great, because that's making your business grow. But if it's been a quarter of the year, first quarter of the year is now challenged, now this is where you need to look at, okay, why am I still in this challenge? Why am I still in this atmosphere? What's not working? What's wrong with the business model that I have, right? What things I need to move? What things are not serving me? Take them out. If you look at the big corporate companies or businesses, that's what they do every year, right?
Yeah.
They do that every year because they are measuring themselves every quarter. So they are measuring themselves every quarter. What's working? What's not working? Let's change. Okay, we tried all this stuff. End of the year, none of these things work. Let's get rid of it. And that's why you see sometimes people get let go and all that stuff, right? So it's just because the companies are making those decisions to cut their things which are not helping them, to grow. So the end goal is always to grow and bring your dream to life. If you're not bringing your dreams to life, why is it not happening? This is where you should be asking yourself every time, why is it not happening? So you are obviously one of the person they should reach out to when they need to start their journey. And if somebody's in the middle of their journey already, in terms of they have an existence online, but not too sure of their website, because a lot of people now think, do I really need the website because everything is on social media? Shall I just work off that and get a Linktree link, for example, and then get people to divert wherever I need to go, right? What do you think, websites are still in existence, or?
Well, for me personally, I think as a business, you ought to have a website. And why do I say that? Because if you're depending solely on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, these website platforms, yes, they're websites that you're directing traffic to, but guess what? At the end of the day, they don't belong to you. So if they were to crash, all of them at the same time, will your business still be producing business? That is something that you have to ask yourself. So if you have a website that you're getting traffic to, that you're getting deals through, then guess what? You're in the right. And not just that, but it's so important to be developing and gathering your clients' emails, because you can do email campaigns. You can do so much more with targeting that audience into their emails. Yes, is an expense, but guess what? If you're not investing in your business, then why are you in business in the first place? And so a lot of times people say, oh, but I'm on a budget. I don't want to spend. I don't want to invest. Then get out. It sounds hard. It sounds very harsh, but if you're not willing to invest in certain areas of your business so that your business can grow and your exposure can grow and your authenticity within the internet can grow, then why are you in business? Are you in business because you want to be cool and you want to be recognized, or are you in business because you actually have an answer to the people that you're serving? You have the answers to their questions. And so that is something very important. I encourage people to have websites. I think it's an essential part of a business. It gives your business an authenticity. It makes your business look more legit. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you don't need websites. Websites are a thing of the past. But if you were to run a business and use it the right way, you can generate a lot of money by driving traffic through your website. And why are you going to leave money on the table when it's already there, you know? So it's kind of redundant if someone says, "Oh, you don't need them. It's not really important. You could suffice with social media." But guess what? Social media does not belong to you.
I love that, that social media does not belong to you, and it's 100% true. With the recent incident that happened with this current platform, being, Instagram, it went down for a whole day globally. So everybody was panicking, and it was like, oh, this and this and that, and it just brings that to mind and forefront with what you just said. So having your website, I agree 100% is yours, and you know that you can continue performing, and you can continue doing your business, whatever is happening out there, right? And you're right. What if all these social media websites collapse tomorrow? What will happen to you yourself? You're out of business, right? So now you have to get your website, get everything up that. But it's good to have a website that you can. Again, you need to have an idea of what you want to do, your website to do, right? In terms of how to, the end goal is always monetizing what you have on social media and what presence you have online. So how you can monetize your website, that will just depend on an individual's business, right? How exactly. It is. They need to sit down and create a blueprint of their business. If they do not know how to do this, they probably need to get a coach that helps them with the business planning side of things.
Exactly.
And marketing is part of it. And I'd say that to everybody, and you touched upon it now as well. So if you have no budget for your website and all that stuff, don't go into business. When you said that, I just remembered a quote from Elon Musk, and a question was asked to Elon Musk. He said, "Could you? I'm an entrepreneur. Can you tell me something motivating so that other entrepreneurs are motivated by that as well?" And he just simply said, "If you need motivation to become an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur." No. Because entrepreneur is basically something you are passionate about. You should be doing that, come wake, rain, shine, whatever. You should just be doing that without thinking. And that's what entrepreneurship is. It's something you're passionate about and you want to see it in front of you, right? And that's what it is. So whatever that is, for whoever's listening, you need to just take that and say, okay, I want to see that. If you are able to think it, you should be able to write it down, talk to yourself about it, and then make it happen out there, right?
Absolutely.
I use the examples of these chairs, this phone, these lights that we are using now. That was someone's dream or someone's idea, right? And then it became their passion. And then they were like, I want to now see this idea out there, people using it. And that's all it is. A lot of people come to entrepreneurial side of the journey. I usually say for the wrong reasons. Yes, there's money to be made, but before money, what is the purpose of your business? I always say, what's the purpose of your business? What is the purpose of this? Why should the person spend that money with you, right? Even let's say I'm not a big foodie person, but I love street food. So that street food, somebody had an idea of opening up a stand, putting food on the street and start making that. It's supposed to taste nicer than your home food, but a little bit quirkier than the restaurants, right? So that feeling that you got for having that street food, that's why the person, whenever you see a street food stand, you're like, yeah, let me try this one, right?
Exactly.
That's the feeling. And that's the feeling that one person somewhere created it, that everybody then followed for the street food, right? And this is where you have to see, okay, what purpose is for your business, right? Why that person should spend the money with you? Why they should come to you? And your website, your brand, your logo should come with that, right?
And something that we have to keep in mind is a lot of times people create a business, but they do not connect with that branding in that business. And that's why a lot of times these businesses don't succeed, is because you're portraying something to your audience, but your business is not even connected to it. And so there's a misconnect of one thing is one thing and then another thing is another. something that we always have to keep in mind is your business is an extension of yourself. It came from you. It's an idea. So when you see that business, you're going to show off pieces of yourself. You're going to implement colors that some way or another are colors that you like. So it will trigger off onto your business. And so a lot of times when I've worked with clients that have come to me and I look at their business and I look at them and I say to them, did you create this? Or did someone create it for you and tell you that this is what you needed? And they're like, how did you know? I was like, because it doesn't connect with you. And that's where you're missing your mark. When your business and your branding for your business is not connecting, you're missing the mark and you're missing out on making money.
I love that. I love that, you know, in terms of the missing out the mark of making money just because you're not connecting. Hence, that's why I was saying a lot of people get into the business just for the wrong reasons. They might be correct at the beginning, but then they just lose that touch of why they started, right? And then when I also say is if your business is all about money, that's a very short-term business. You will make that money somehow, sooner or later, whenever that happens for you. But then what's next? You know, it's not going to do anything because the money that you were after has all just come to you now. That's it, right?
Exactly.
So you have to always think of a long-term business that you want to stay behind and continue evolving with the time of whatever your business is, right? So
Exactly.
that's where it has to be, right? I'm going to use an example of Apple, for example, you know, Apple phones. So they've been there for a long time. There was a time, it was a very niche market. It was just for creatives only. Nobody else had it, right? And for a long time, only creatives could have it. If you were in the media side of the section yet, and you didn't have an Apple, you'd be like, what? How do you make all this stuff then? And then slowly they evolved to everybody now having an Apple device. I rarely know anybody who doesn't have a part of Apple with them, right? With whether that's AirPods or watch or something, even if they don't like the phone, so they will have something else. It's there, right? So it was all to do with connectivity, because they moved into connectivity after that. So you're making sure that you are connected everywhere that you go. You're connected with all your loved ones at the end, you know. So they made the communications out of things very easy with your walkie-talkies on the phone and all that stuff. You can find your friends where you are out with, so you're not going to get lost. So a lot of things, but that was an evolution that happened, right? So they didn't just say, oh, we're going to just do this. When that market goes, what next? And this is where you need to have a long-term of, in terms of, we're just not a one company. We are going to sustain this to see how far we go, right? So you're now doing obviously brilliantly and helping everybody achieve their dreams and get those visions across and see everything. What do you tell yourself when you do get through those low moments of, right, oh, today's not the day, for example, but you wake up and you're like, okay, I don't feel like doing this. Do you get one of those days?
Oh, I get them all the time. All the time. In the beginning, I would push through them and I would tell myself there's no time to stop. But now, after being in this, it's going to be 4 years now. So it's not something that I just started yesterday and I'm kind of trying to see where things go. No, now when I feel that I wake up and I'm in one of those days that I feel like it's a rut, like nothing's working, there's nothing creative flowing, that to me is a sign that I'm worn out and that I need a timeout. And a lot of times what I do is I do retail therapy, or I watch TV, I watch a movie, and I usually get back to my creativeness within 2 to 3 hours. But what I love about being an entrepreneur is that I can decide how I spend my days. I don't need someone telling me you need to do this before this and by this. And if it's not done, you're fired. No, I pretty much tell myself I need to do this by this because this needs to get done. And so I already have an outline of things that need to be done. And as work comes in, it gets done and it gets pushed out. But when I have those days that I don't want to do anything, I don't do anything. I just don't do anything. If I want to go have a bite to eat, I'll go and grab a bite to eat, because just as I have those days that I don't want to do anything, I have days where I'm crushing it. And so when I have those days that I'm crushing it, that I'm getting things done, and I'm in a flow of getting things done, and the creativeness is flowing and things are getting done, and I get calls done, I get on this and I do this and I finish this, and it's like I'm multitasking all of these things at the same time, but at the end of the day, things are getting done. And so it kind of compensates when I do have that low day that I don't feel like doing anything, because I have more high days than lows. And so if a low day comes, I'll just take it and see how it goes. And by the end of the day, which is around 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, I may be like, okay, I'm ready. I want to work. And so that's the best part. I can work whenever I want, from wherever I want. And all I need is my computer. So that's amazing.
I love that. I love that you just explained that laptop lifestyle, right? So
Exactly. It's
so
amazing. It's a beautiful thing.
yeah, I love it. And what I also heard there was the acknowledgement of yourself, right? So you're acknowledging that, okay, now now I'm feeling like not doing it. So right, I acknowledge that I'm not gonna push through this deadline. Yes, deadlines are there to meet, but you're the boss of your own deadline. So deadlines are movable. If you need to, obviously, if you know how urgent what work is. If it's very urgent, should have been, in my eyes, if it's very urgent work, should have been done yesterday. Why is it still not done?
Exactly.
That's how I see it, right? So if you're still working on it, it wasn't urgent for you enough then, right? So
no, and a lot of times I'm the type of person that if a job comes in and it can be done, I'll do it and leave it there. Because guess what? You're the boss, but your client doesn't need to know when you actually finish the job. Because you don't want to let people know how fast you are either, because you let them know everything, then they're going to be like, oh, you could do that in 10 minutes. No, I run my business. And so people need to understand, and don't get things twisted, that when you run the business, they're on the receiving end and they will get their job when they need to receive it.
I agree 100%, 100%. So always give yourself that timely manner of time to other clients, right? So you are what I heard there was as well was, you're allowing them to treat you the way they would then start treating you. If you are doing so quick returns, they're gonna start treating you in that way, like, well, yeah, you can just do that in 10 minutes. Here you go, you got 10 more now.
Exactly.
So you can bust this out in an hour, right? And you're like, no, I can't. I got this to do. I need to go shopping. They're like, no, they're not gonna realize that you have a life, right?
Exactly.
So
Agreed.
if something that takes 10 minutes, I'll probably say, yeah, I'll let you know in 2 hours time, for example, right? I'm gonna give myself that time, and then I'm not giving. It's a case of what I usually always say is, under promise and over deliver. So you are under promising it. Okay, yeah, you will get it in 2 hours, for example, but you can deliver it in an hour because you've done it in 10 minutes, right?
Exactly.
And you're giving yourself that time. So if now they give you a job which takes longer, say 1 hour, now you can say, oh, this will actually take 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever. Or maybe I will give it to you the next day because my schedule is busy. You're probably just going for retail therapy or going to the beach, who knows? But you have to respect yourself to gain that respect from your own clients, because you're respecting your own time. So if you respect your own time, you're allowing others to recognize that your time is precious, and then they're going to give you that same respect because you've given yourself that respect, right?
I agree.
So 100% in terms of what you're doing. I would like to say thank you very much for your time and sharing your journey with us. And there's lots of golden nuggets that have been shared here. We should be wrapping up soon now. What would you like to say to people who are listening now? And this will be posted on to Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well later on. So the future listeners who would listen to that later on, something that you came across, or something that you've gained since you've been an entrepreneur?
Well, something that I've gained as an entrepreneur has been to listen to your inner self. A lot of times we want to do things and not listen to ourselves and take ourselves into consideration because we give the importance of everything over to our clients. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but you should always entertain the idea that if you are not satisfied with creating or doing a certain task for your clients, guess what? You will not produce that job to your maximum potential. And so I have had the lesson in life that now I say to myself, do I want to take on this client? Will this project be benefit for me? Because I know that I will be a benefit to that client because I will deliver above and beyond. But are you willing to lose a part of yourself to get a job or a task done just because you're going to make a monetary momentum, small fragment of money to get something done at a cost that will cost you more in the long run because you didn't take yourself as an accountability? Or would you say, no, I don't want to do this because I feel that I would be a disservice to you? So now with clients that have come to me, I really have a onboarding process and I have a survey that they submit to me, and I take the time to go through that survey, get those questions, because it is a commitment, and I'm committing to helping you to be successful. And if I can't commit to help you be successful, then I shouldn't be working with you. And so that is something that as entrepreneurs, we need to realize. For each project or each adventure or opportunity that we may face, we have to think about ourselves. Will we be in the best mindset? Will we be productive? Will we be the best version of ourselves to help you obtain the results that you're looking for?
Wow, that is such an amazing wrap up there. I could not have put it best myself. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the
that.
invitation.
Thank you very much. So people who would like to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Well, you could reach me through my website at graphicallyforyou.com, through Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Pinterest. And if you have any questions, jump into my DMs. I would greatly answer them. And as a result of joining us today, if you have any questions, send me a message that you have seen the live, and I will jump on a 15-minute call with you just as a form of thanking you.
Wow, thank you very much. So whoever's listening to that now or listening to later, they can reach out to you, to your DM, and just let you know that they've listened to this podcast, whether live or on a podcast. So that graphically for you is with a number 4 in the middle.
Number 4,
right? 4,
and the letter U.
Yeah, there you are. .com, right?
Correct.
So yeah, reach out and thank you very much. You're doing such an amazing job for everybody as well, making sure that everyone's vision comes to life, their dreams fulfilled. And I saw somebody commented saying Glory is the best.
Thank you.
So there you go. What was that? Jenny sells real estate. So there you go. So I'm sure you probably made her a nice website for her real estate. But yeah, so there you are. Thank you very much,
Thank
Glory,
you.
and everybody else who's listening now. We will be back on next Tuesday with another amazing soul entrepreneur. And see you next Tuesday, guys. And thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank
And
you.
Glory. Bye.
Bye.